This is the Audi A8 2004 to 2009. Basically, they are very similar. Here we are going to show you how to troubleshoot the audio or the navigation system and the display problems. One of the common problem for this sound system and the navigation display, when you turn on the ignition, the display opens up, but there is no screen. Basically, the screen is black. In this case, the problem is generated either by the bad display interface box or the LCD itself. And if you have sound and everything is functional, but the display is black, so most probably the problem is the LCD display is bad. But if there is no sound and no function and the display is black, most likely the problem is caused by the display interface box, which is located under the glove box. So in order to get the display interface box out, you have to remove the glove box and then drop the glove box, and then you can remove the display interface box. So we are going to show you how to remove the display interface. The tools that you need to remove the glove box is the size, the T20 Torx head, and plus the dashboard removal tool, and that's about it. The first thing you do, and also you need the keys to remove the CD changer. Just you insert it in the two slots underneath the CD changer. Everything is already loose. This is just you're demonstrating it so you know how it works. Once you get the CD changer out, and then there are after you unplug it, there are two caps at the end of the glove box. The plastic caps, you take those caps off, then you can remove those screws, and then there's a side cover. Yeah, you can use the dashboard removal tool and pop that one out. And there are screws over there too. Yeah. And then you remove the screws from under the wood panel. Most of the screws are already out, they're just loose. And then you remove the screws from underneath the glove box, all the way underneath, and then you can drop the glove box. And here you go. And this is where the interface box is. This is a module with sends a video signal to the navigation display unit. So, and if this module is faulty, you won't have the screen. Is usually black, and 90% of the time this module goes out. And after the if you get it repaired, this module usually doesn't need any programming, but if it gets exchanged or you get a new one from the Audi, you need to recode the module. Otherwise, the screen would come up, but you have no audio. That's the symptom is normally is. So everything would be functional, but except the audio. And if you need any repair for this unit, you can send it to iTech Electronic Services in Van Nuys, California. And the next step, we are going to show in the trunk how to test the other modules in the trunk if there is no audio, how to bypass the fiber optic loop. In some cases, when you turn on the ignition, the display comes up. But after a few minutes, the display goes out and you have no sound and no functionality. This symptom is caused by as you can see, the display went out And the reason is because the fiber optic loop is open. So you have to figure out where it is open, and this fiber optic, all of the components in the trunk and the display interface box is has a fiber optic input or output. So if any of the components are malfunctioning, and then they wouldn't have any fiber optic connectivity, and then that's what happens. The display goes out for a minute, then it shuts down. And if you can see this symptom, that means most likely the display is good and the interface box could be okay, and the problem could be either in the amplifier, the CD changer, or the tuner module in the trunk, or even if you have a satellite receiver, that could be faulty too, then you will have the same symptom. As you can see, this is the trunk of the A8 and the left quarter panel. Everything is already out, and this is the tuner, navigation unit, and the plus amplifier is located behind this metal bracket. If you want to test the fiber optic loop to see which component is malfunctioning, that's why the fiber optic is open. So there is the display usually shuts down after a couple minutes because one of these components could be faulty. What you have to do, one by one, you disconnect the fiber optic line from each module. Like in this case, this is for the amplifier. Everything is already out. And this is the fiber optic line for the amplifier. And what you do, you just use this bypassed, some people they call it lollipop. You put it, insert it into the plug, and then basically what it does, it just loops the fiber optic back to the line. And then you can go back into the vehicle, and then the started engine or leave the ignition on. And what it does, everything should be fine. Suppose if the amplifier was faulty, what it would do, as soon as you turn on the ignition, everything would be functional in the front. The MMI would work, and you can change all the station on the radio, see the navigation and everything. But the only difference would be you have no sound, and it's obvious because the amplifier is disconnected. So that's how you can tell if the amp is faulty. But after you bypass this and still you have the same issue, you plug this one back into the amplifier, the fiber optic, and then you hook up also the power for the amplifier, and then you do the next module. So you do the same thing for the next module. Suppose if the tuner module is bad, which you do not know but you wanted to find out, you just unplug the fiber optic line from the tuner module, and then you bypass it again with that lollipop. And then you go ahead and do the same procedure. You turn on the ignition to see if everything is functional. And suppose if your tuner was bad, then since we bypassed it, everything would come on, but you have no radios. But the display should go on, and the MMI would start working. And if that does not solve the issue and the tuner was fine, then you do the same procedure for the navigation unit. You remove the navigation unit, you bypass the fiber optic line, the same story. But when you're doing this one, you can do only one component at a time. You have to remember to put back the other navigation plug back to the tuner. You cannot do two units at the same time. Everything has to be connected, and then you can do one module at a time. And if you find the faulty module and you bypassed it, and everything would be functional. That's how you can tell if your amplifier is bad, your navigation is bad, or the tuner is bad. So you won't be guessing. You just bypass it, and if it works fine, then you know you found the faulty module. And if you need any repair for any of these components, then you can send it to High Tech Electronics Services in Van Nuys, California, or 818-785-8085. Thank you.